Bully on me. Remember how we...
Nice. If anyone knows what that is, because we're live now, sound off in the comments.
I figured you were going to do that.
He was singing this song, and he's like, "Do you know what this is?" And I was like, "It sounds like."
I'm hoping I'm referencing this correctly at all.
It sounds like one of the guards from The Wizard of Oz, but they're having a stroke. Oh, yo, yo.
I got it. So I actually had it's from a movie.
Okay.
And I have the movie up right now on my screen. I'm gonna play it and then see if I can hear the clip that I'm thinking of.
Okay.
But anyway,
while you do that, all aboard the Talk Tuesday train. It's another Tuesday. We're gonna do more talking. We've been doing it before we were live because this is how we do. It's been almost a half hour off stream. If we start a Patreon together, we'll just have to have the reward be you get to hear us actually catch up before before we go live and hear all the dumb shit we talk about. And yes, Gilmer, it is a train. But you are here, so I have to make a sexual joke. We're gonna be running trains tonight. Anyway.
I'll be the caboose.
I was gonna say, I see you looking up at the. Oh, it's the caboose taking it from behind. I see. All right.
You know how I like it. I mean, I guess technically the front of the train would take it from behind. The caboose, there's nothing else back there.
That is true.
It is the behind, but it's not getting anything. So technically, the engine is the thing that's getting it from behind.
That's true. And what
an
interesting
pulling it from behind
dynamic. The engine
is the giver and taker.
Is the top. the engine is the bottom, and the caboose is the top. Anyway, if he's the caboose, he's just giving it all. Yeah, it's like those Newton cradle things with the balls that like the one in the back, just like, and then it sends all the momentum to the front, but it doesn't come back. Anyway, what a weird way to start this episode.
So, I if you would allow me, Andrew, I can go right into what the bully eyed me, remember how we, whatever that was. Because
it's just scratching at the edges of my memory. So please enlighten me before I lose my freaking mind.
So I wanted to make sure that I was right with this, and I was. And I don't think I'm saying the words of whatever this is correctly because it's in a different language that I don't speak. For my birthday, I mentioned last week, besides the wonderful headphones that Andrew here gave me, I got Super Mario Wonder, right?
Nice.
There was another game I wanted though, and the day after the stream last week, I was being a responsible, law-abiding citizen, and I went to go pay my taxes.
Okay, I was like, where is this going? What crime did you commit without telling me, without involving me?
And it just so happened that where I had to pay the taxes, I was doing it in person because I was just nervous first time paying taxes in a new place, right?
Yeah.
So, actually, first time ever actually having to pay my local taxes because I didn't own a home before, so I never really had to do any of that. But so I went to go do that, and just so happens it's right next to Walmart, and I was like, I wonder if that Walmart has the other game that I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And it did, and I picked up a copy of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
Nice.
And I'll talk more about it, but the reason I brought it up from the top is there's a scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark where Indy and Sala are kind of doing their own excavation separate from the Nazi stuff. And some of the workers that I guess Sala recruited or whatever up there, and you just see this really cool shot of like everyone's in a silhouette and the sun is setting, and you just see pickaxes kind of going up and down in the silhouette and whatnot, and they're singing a song and they're just going "Bully am dammy, mama highway, bully am." I don't know what they're actually saying. I have no clue. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but I literally brought up a copy of Raiders to watch in the background while you were doing your intro.
Oh my God.
Intro, Andrew. And I'm like, am I right? And I actually had to rewind it like 3 times because you were talking, and it was hard for me to hear, but I didn't want to tell you to stop. So I could like listen to this clip.
Yeah, can everyone just be quiet for a second so that we can hear, so Josh can hear his movie? Hey, wow, Mr. Gilmer just subscribed. Thank you for that, Mr. Gilmer.
Thanks, Gilmer.
Appreciate it. You are 8 out of 10. You are 8 out of 10 of the first 10 subscribers to get, and you get a little first badge next to your name when you chat now, and you don't have to deal with the freaking ads. So if you wanted in those last 2 slots and be my last 2 sluts, then smash that subscribe button with your cock. Sorry, I'm trying to keep it like I'm trying to keep it like Gilmer related because every time that's always how the conversation goes whenever he's here.
I don't know if I genuinely don't know what Gilmer's going to think of is that you Gilmer related is anything sexual to you. That's what you just told him. I don't think that way, Gilmer.
Gilmer related as in
I don't
whenever
view you as a sex object, unlike Andrew.
Whenever we cross the line a little bit, whenever we're pushing that line further than we normally go, Gilmer is here, and we often summon him while we do. Thanks, Josh.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I don't view you as a sex object either, although maybe you're a sex artifact. Maybe you're an arcane sex artifact because somehow the summoning happened. Anyway, let's get back to, speaking of whips.
But yes. Indiana Jones. Indy. It's pretty good so far. It's so the Indiana Jones game, I should say.
I've heard.
One, Troy Baker, phenomenal job as Indy. Like he is like he's doing a really good Harrison Ford. There is a little bit of it feels like there's a little lack of emotion in his performance, but I think that's mainly direction or the fact that he's trying so hard to just emulate Harrison Ford. Like, I know Troy Baker is a good enough actor that he can do everything that he needs to do for this role.
Yeah.
But I think he's so focused on that voice that, and it doesn't take away from the game. It's just more that is more of an observation than even a nitpick. Like, I don't even think it's necessarily bad. It's just something I noticed.
Yeah. And it's got to be hard to have the same amount of range when you're doing an impression like that, you know, like.
Well, thankfully, Harrison Ford doesn't have a lot of range in terms of his speaking in general. Like, he's a great actor, but if you ever watch interviews with him, he goes, "Yeah, well, you know,
oh my god,
just gotta, you know, I just told Lucas, you know, people don't talk like that, you know." That's kind of like he's very kind of. He's very kind of monotone. And what's up, Parallax?
What's up, Parallax? Why are you ugging? What's wrong?
That's how he always comes into the stream, remember?
No, this is the only time he has come into the stream and not done what he normally does, which is to say Ermagerd and some kind of weird thing in the language that I have to guess. Because Twilight Princess is the best game?
No, not. I'm sorry, it is not the best game. I don't like that game at all.
That's so funny that we're on the same page of that. We were talking about this last night.
I shouldn't say at all, but
Andrew has no memory of this place.
Interesting. I've always, I go, oh, that's what I see how it is. Parallax. You go into his with Ermagerd, and you go in with mine with the energy of ugh, this fucker again.
All Zelda is poo. Oh my god,
Gilmer, you know what? I take it back. You deserve to be a sex object for that.
Damn. Okay, so first of all, the no memory of this place. I'm gonna channel my Nathan Lane. Did I miss something? And also,
I didn't take it that way, Parallax.
I do have to disagree. I don't think all Zelda is poo, but I definitely think Twilight Princess is very low on my list. In fact, I would say it's last on my list of the 3D Zeldas, which are the ones that I play. So,
anyway,
back to Harrison Ford. And to answer your question, I'm sure you thought I didn't hear you. No, I've not played it, but I want to.
Majora's Mask is better than Twilight Princess. Blasphemy all around. Anyway, so yes, it's pretty good so far. What's interesting about it is I was expecting a first person Uncharted,
Okay.
and it is nothing like that.
Right, because Uncharted is just third person Indiana Jones.
Well, Uncharted is basically just male Tomb Raider.
Right, right.
It's yeah, it's just anyway. So what's interesting about it, it's have you played the newer Hitman games? Like 2016 Hitman and up, right? Like the kind of the
briefly.
rebooted franchise.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I think I played the demo for whatever the first one was.
I really liked the Hitman reboot from
A lot of people
like
do.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
What this game does is it's kind of like, what if you took like a first person, more stealth based than anything. Like it doesn't, like you can fight pretty well. It doesn't discourage you from fighting, but like you can get overwhelmed easily. But like it's not linear in the slightest. What they do is they give
Really?
you these large open areas to explore, and you will continue to get objectives that progress the story, but it will take you all over the area. Like you will have like the first major section of the game is the Vatican, and it's kind of wild because you get to see the Sistine Chapel too, which is kind
Wow.
of cool. But you go around and explore. There's like, you have a list of missions. You have your main mission, what you know is the storyline, and then there's like easily like dozens of side quests in each area. And if you do like, there's main stories, there's like side digs. I forget what exactly the terminology. It's like side quests. Then they have like kind of like you know, just errands, if for lack of a better term. I forget the exact terminology, but you know, there's like a hierarchy like
Yeah.
of importance. The side quests almost always tie into the main story in some way, so it adds more context for you. Sometimes you need to complete the side quests in order to get the next step for the main quest as well, depending on it. But for the most part, like the side quests are kind of there just to expand the lore of the world, like character building and stuff like that.
So is it like Far Cry?
No, because Far Cry was like a full open. At least Far Cry 3. I played Far Cry 3 and up, but
Yeah.
like, well, not
So it's not a
Too
full
far.
open world. It's just like
no. It's a very large enclosed space that's packed with things to do.
okay.
And so like you might like, so in the Vatican, for example, you spoke to a nun who's complaining about how the fascists, because remember that this is in Italy, so Mussolini and his fascist regime at the time. This is 1937 is when the game takes place. Called the Black Coats is what they called them. They were kind of like, you know, obviously in cahoots with the Nazis, and the one of the higher priests in the Vatican, not the Pope, but one of the higher up priests, was basically like loyal to Mussolini. So there is a lot of the other priests were like kind of like, this is blasphemous, and you can hear them talking about it like, you shouldn't be inviting the government into here. Like this is a sacred place, that there should not be, you know, separation church and state. Who would have guessed?
Yeah.
But
I'm glad that that's not an
especially for
issue
the Catholic
anymore.
Church, especially for the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
But
Glad we solved that.
but yes, Gilmer, actually very much. It's kind of like Dishonored in
Okay.
the terms of the structure, but it's like Dishonored meets Hitman meets Uncharted,
Okay.
right?
I'm picking up the
Uncharted
picture.
Uncharted because of the theming and everything, but gameplay wise, it's more Dishonored and Hitman. And instead of like in Hitman where it's very action, Hitman and Dishonored where it's very, I know Dishonored is more stealth based, but even Dishonored feels more actiony than this. This is a lot more puzzly with some stealth elements. Like you can still, there's still combat. Like for example, I have not, like, you can't carry a gun with you. You just
Really?
like, you can, but like it's considered, so you are always carrying with you you know, a satchel full of like essentials, whether it's disguises, whether it's health items, whether it's boosts, that kind of stuff, or a lighter or whatnot. But then your weapon, you can always carry. I think you're guaranteed to carry at least like one sidearm, and it depends on like what part of the quest you're in. So like you can have a pistol if you want to, but like you get so little ammo for it, and since you're in an area where if you shoot, it's going to bring everybody on you, so there's no point in just shooting people.
Gotcha.
And in all honesty, it kind of makes sense that they did that, because if you think about an Indiana Jones, like, he doesn't actually shoot a lot of people. Like, he does shoot people, obviously, but it's a lot more like brawling and kind of
Definitely.
like, they really nailed the tone of the character of Indy through the gameplay, instead of just making him like, let me just shoot. Like, it is very puzzle oriented. It's very like digging around and searching and like exploring the area, which
He's an
an
archaeologist.
archaeologist would.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was at first turned off by it because I was expecting first person Uncharted.
Yeah.
Um,
Are there still
and when I
like
didn't get
big
that, I was
action
like,
set
what is that?
pieces?
Yeah, there
Okay.
are. The intro, like the tutorial level, as it were, is the Raiders intro, and it's actually Indy dreaming, and he wakes up from it, and that's when like it's like he's dreaming it. So that's like your tutorial for it. But there is action in the sense that like you can fight enemies, and like you can go into a battle with like 2 or 3 enemies and not even have a gun and still come out triumphant.
That's
like
amazing.
like it becomes a game about like, because you can use your whip almost at will, right? So like, like one guy will come at you, so you whip him one, then the other one you start punching him like crazy, then you back up and that guy's now is now done being stunned by the whip, so you whip him again and you go back to the other dude to just keep on punching him.
Nice.
And so it feels like Indiana Jones, though, because if you see in those movies, right, he'll punch a dude and then run away until he can get to isolate the next dude and punch him.
Yeah.
And like, and that's kind of how the gameplay works. Like, I haven't played a game like this. It's really interesting.
Huh. Okay. Again, I was laughing because
Instead of being a
Gilmer.
prolific murderer like Nathan Drake. Yes, instead of being a prolific murderer like Nathan Drake.
It's so.
And I love Nathan Drake, but he is
Yeah.
a prolific murderer.
I
If you really think about the body count.
Yeah, seriously. Actually, I saw. I forget. I think I've talked about this creator before. Just quick aside. Gamer. I forget if it's Gamer Champ or Game Champ. I think it's Gamer Champ 3000 on YouTube. She's one of those just absolutely someone who takes a game and breaks it and is like, can you beat Ratchet and Clank with only the wrench? Can you
I love that.
beat Sonic without collecting rings? Or like she just did one that was like, can you beat Donkey Kong Country without collecting any bananas? Or like Mario Wonder without collecting any of the whatever those little purple things are in that. You just started playing it. But she did one, and I haven't watched it because I don't want to spoil this game, because I know I'm going to get the red dots on my head. I've not played any Uncharted game. I've played demos, but I've never actually played them, and I really want to, and I have all 4 of them. Or, well, the first 4.
They are very fun, like popcorn, like don't turn your brain off games. They're great.
Which I really need right now. But she did one that was like, can you beat Uncharted? I think she started with 2. It was like, can you beat Uncharted 2 without shooting a gun or without killing anyone with a gun or something?
I don't think it's unless she does the caveat of like it's necessary to progress the game. Like, can you just run past all the? But like combat encounters, like there's sections that won't open up unless. Oh wait, she said shooting a gun, so that means she could take out every enemy through fisticuffs.
I think so. I think it's just without guns. And like obviously, if it happens in a cutscene, there's nothing you can do about that. But you would be surprised at the way that she just absolutely breaks games, and they're fascinating and very, very cool. So highly recommend. But yeah, and it is funny because Gilmer, you're right. Like in those games, from what I've seen, you're like this happy-go-lucky kind of like, yeah, I'm the smarmy guy. I'm the Nolan North, treasure hunter guy. Let's kill everyone. Like, it's still a video game, so.
But it's so much murder.
I know.
It's so much.
I'm a good guy.
But so I'm really enjoying my time with this so far.
Yeah.
I should be finishing up Final Fantasy X too, because it's for the show.
Ooh.
This isn't even for the show, at least as of now.
It's just for you.
Who knows if like, and I'm on the last chapter of 10-2, but I'm not enjoying it. Like, I just don't care.
Oh no! Don't tell my girlfriend that.
No, so here's the thing with 10-2. I think the game system, the battle system, is really cool. I think the story is boring. And
Okay.
the thing that's frustrating is that the setup for the story isn't.
Oh, I see that. Yeah. Yeah, because it's
Like the
all I
setup
know
for the
about it is like, why does Tidus disappear at the end of 10? Let's find out. So you're saying,
you played 10, right?
yeah. Just not
So
10-2.
the biggest issue I have with 10.2 is that, and it's not really the game's fault entirely, but they really play into the fact that this is a sequel. It is not like you. So like in 10, you slowly explore the world, like you progress through the world bit by bit, and you can get the airship and go back. 10.2, the entirety of Final Fantasy 10 is that you have access to, which is cool.
Huh.
If you played it recently.
Yeah.
I haven't played 10 in like over a decade. So
Okay.
like they're saying all these character names, like, don't you remember this character that you helped out? I'm like, no, I don't. I haven't played this game in over a decade.
Right.
There's so many moments where like you need to go into the game, expects you to have a very like deep, not deep, but a very current knowledge of the world of Final Fantasy X. And if you don't, that makes it significantly harder for you to understand the story that's happening.
Gotcha. That's frustrating.
And that's not entirely the game's fault, but it kind of is too. It's like I don't begrudge them for doing that, but at the same time, it did ruin part of my experience.
Yeah.
So there's that. But the actual like battle system, really cool, really interesting.
I've
like,
heard
the dress spheres are cool, the outfits are awesome. The characters are all like Yuna, Riku, and Pain are all really fun. That's really cool, but it just, there's so many things about it where I'm just tired of this game. And it's not long. I'm only 15 hours in, and I'm already almost at the end of the game, and I'm just ready to be done.
Yeah.
So
that's fair,
I don't know.
though.
I don't know what I'm going to do. We'll see what happens. I have time to finish it if I really want to. I'm honestly thinking of just finishing Indiana Jones right now, because then I still have a bunch of other JRPGs that I have to finish for the show.
Yeah.
I have 2 more for backlog month that I have to beat. So yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, so what I've experienced this week is the Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. It's
Nice.
been a lot of, and also I've played a good chunk of Super Mario Wonder as well. Both are
Nice.
fantastic in different ways, obviously, very different games. But man, Indiana Jones is not what I was expecting, and I kind of love that. It took me a
Yeah.
little while to like get into it, but it is like the areas are huge and you have to spend so much time exploring. Like, if you want to, they give you pretty good guidance on where to go, so you don't have to explore it if you don't want to. But there's so much to see and do, and like so many different things to collect, and there's lots of collectibles in it, but it's all done for world building. Like the collectibles it's not like Assassin's Creed collectibles where it's like, here's 50 parrot statues
Feathers
or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Feathers, right? It's like different, like you'll have like for each quest there's a handful of documents you can collect, and you don't need to collect all of them to complete the quest. It's just that's how many are like associated to it. And then there's a master list of like documents, which are essentially your collectibles, and there might be like 70 some odd in each area. Like it's not a small number, but each one is like, one might be like just a flyer for, like, one might be like a cooking recipe for the area that you're in, so you kind of understand a little bit more of the cultural context of the area you're in.
Interesting.
Or one might be like an advertisement for like a local business or whatnot. Or one might be a letter written from one person to another, so you can kind of get a sense of like what's happening in the area in recent history. So there's a lot of cool ideas in the game, and I've been playing the shit out of it. Like I already finished the Vatican section. I'm now in Giza with the pyramids and everything. That's a little bit slower so far, but I've also just started it, and yeah, I've been hooked.
Nice.
It's fantastic.
Are you streaming it, or are you just playing it on your own?
I did stream a little bit of it on Thursday last week, and then I've just been playing the rest of the time.
Nice.
Like I should stream it, but I like, part of me, one of the reasons I haven't been streaming as much is I just don't feel like being on.
Yeah.
So-
Oh my god, I feel that. Oh my god, I feel that, especially with this job. This new job, just draining. It's very draining.
Yeah. Dude, I don't even have to deal with your job, but
Yeah.
it's draining. Like it's tough to be on. That's why like doing this is fun because it's like once a week I can be on for sure and just like and even that it is more cathartic because then it's a conversation as opposed to like, all right, let me be entertaining. Haha,
Yeah.
look at this funny thing in the game. Now it's more like conversation in and of itself is entertaining to me.
Yeah.
Hence why podcasting and also it's working a muscle that I've obviously worked very well with the podcasting type of thing. So it comes second nature to me.
Kilmer says the trick is never make content and only talk about it. Clearly, that's what I've been doing wrong.
Yep.
I'm hoping to make more content as life things develop that I told you off mic, but we shall see. For the moment now, thank you everyone for just bearing with my plateauing of my energy levels and stuff right now. And
this is an interesting conversation because we always talk about like, do you think creating content is like? I always see it with creative types that content is like a dirty word where it's like it's like turning your creative output into just something that is for consumption. It's content for consumption as opposed to art that you like observe, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, and part of me thinks like people take it way too seriously. Like that's who cares? But at the other part, I'm like, you're not wrong when it's like what amounts to content now. Like I remember someone was saying like, and I kind of understand it and I kind of agree with it. Like if you look at like if you scroll through Blue Sky and you see someone post something or when Twitter was actually Twitter, tweet something or post a picture on Instagram, that's technically content that you created for the public to consume.
yeah.
And I never really thought of it that way because it's just like, but it's entertainment to people. Like the reason why we scroll social media is that it entertains us. It is something that like keeps our mind active when we're bored. And part of me, you know, that's I think sometimes we need that downtime. We need to be bored.
Yeah.
I think that's actually really. Sorry, there's an ant on my computer. We need to be bored, I think, but I don't know. That's changing the course of the conversation a little bit. But like the concept of content, right? Is it good or bad? Like is the moniker of content for what? Like content creator, is that a bad thing? Like not the actual act of creating this, but like, you know, I don't know. Like sometimes I wonder, like, our content, does that imply just capitalist consumption? You know what I mean? Or is it actually more creative and genuine than that?
I think I really like this question. I think, first of all, I like what you said about like we need to be bored again. I don't remember the last time that I felt bored. And even when I didn't have anything to do and I was trying to relax and I put myself in a headspace where I would be like, I could probably be bored. I can't allow it because my brain is always telling me to do something to either be productive or be like responsible. So like there's like being bored is like maybe the truest rest, you know, like
there's
you need time to
purpose
turn
for it.
your brain off. Yeah. Especially right now when we're just so inundated with content, which to answer that question, I think it's kind of become, and Gilmer's like, I'm dirty. It kind of has become a dirty word. But I think the closest thing to it is like someone like a filmmaker. They, of course, or even like, I mean, that's a little bit different. The closest, yeah, like a filmmaker. They're going to use a movie as a vessel for their creativity, and they're going to tell the story that they want to tell in the way that they want to tell it, and not necessarily, but they have to cater to the audience that's wanting to watch it. They have to cater to the people who are funding it. They have to cater to the general, not the general populace, but their audience. And so in a way, it's like they have to find ways to blend both. And you don't want to just be soulless. And this is like a lot of the Marvel movies have gotten this way, and shows have gotten this way, where it's just soulless just for the sake of money, because people are just like, I make content. I can't believe you didn't do this thing or this character, and you need to do this. And they lose a bit of like the artistic aspect. But then, people who make like art house films who just do it for themselves, they often, unless you get picked up by a big studio, those are often like personal projects that not no one, but much fewer people are going to see and experience. So you do kind of have to cater to both. So I think it's kind of it's not as fair to say it's a bad thing. It might leave a poor taste in your mouth because you're trying to reconcile creativity with sustainability and like whatever's financial benefit. And also you're catering, as soon as you have to cater to people who are not the creator of the thing, it changes the dynamic. I don't want to say it's good or bad, but it changes it. And in this world where consumption of media is there's much more of a community aspect to it, I think, now, because we're so plugged in all the time, which can be good and it can be bad. You just can't ignore that it is going to you do kind of have to play to your audience a little bit, which might not feel good. And maybe that's why it feels dirty.
If it's a sustainability issue, right? Like if you don't need to create to sustain, like for example, I've always said this, if the podcast, if Still Loading ever took off to the point where I could technically live off of it, like I could provide for my family off of it, I would still keep, if possible, keep this full-time job. If it wasn't possible to do both, I would get a part-time job, because I do think, at least for me, I can't say this for everyone, I don't want to speak in absolutes, at least for me, I like having like my podcast feel like that creative output. Like this is what I do for fun. And if it became my full-time job, I'm worried it would no longer be for fun. And that's not the case for everyone. Some people love the grind of that, right? Some people love like that their creativity is their job and they can be on all the time. But for me, I can't have my creativity on as frequently as someone who could do it for a full-time job, right? Like I would get burnt out doing that. So some people can do that. Like I shouted out Dropout last week. Those are all people who do content full time. I mean, I do think it's a little bit different when you're doing TV shows, because like you'll film stuff like months in advance, and then you could all release it out piecemeal. So like they might only have to be on creatively for like maybe a month, and then that would provide content that they could edit and chop up for months, as opposed like 1 month could turn into like 6 months or whatever. Excuse me. So I don't know, like I don't think I'd ever want that, but I do think like when I honestly think the reason why content has grown to have a negative connotation, and I don't mean any disrespect necessarily to these type of creators, but I'm not even talking about like drama YouTubers are one thing. Throw that out like that. I hate that shit. I understand why it's popular. People are obsessed with drama, and they will be time immemorial. Like the tabloids were a thing prior to the internet, right? So like shit like that's going to exist. But like I look at like, for example, like there's a YouTuber named Beat 'em Ups. Woodhawker is his name. He actually is from Australia. He actually lives close to where I live, which is crazy. But he's a pretty big Nintendo YouTuber. I'm talking like over 1 million subscribers. Wow. I want to say. Like, let me look up to see like what his subscriber count is. 1.8 million subscribers.
Woo! Dang.
Like crazy. And I subscribed to him for a little bit because I did like his stuff, and I'm still subscribed to him. But man, I can't stand his content anymore. It's all clickbaity and this and that. And
Yeah.
the reason for that, though, and I don't entirely blame him, because it does take a creative person to be able to roll with the punches, but it's content creation is in response to an algorithm as opposed to in response to a creator's or an audience's whims. And that's the problem. It's the algorithms, excuse me, dictate more of what people watch than the people themselves do.
Yeah.
And
I think that's
like, yeah, you can cater your algorithm to your taste, so you'll see more things like it. But for creators, that's why when if you see an idea for a video hit, all the creators in that same sphere will be like, I got to jump on that while this is hot. And so now all of a sudden they have to do this type of content unless you get to a level that's like AVGN or Scott the Woz even, or I'm trying to think of like fucking who is it? Oh my gosh, I can't think of his name. He does crazy long video essays, and I can't think of H Bomber guy.
okay. That name sounds familiar.
If you want to like watch some of the best videos you'll ever see, but he releases he doesn't subscribe to any of that algorithm bullshit. His last video was a year ago, and the video before that was a year before that, and he's still like but like his last video was on plagiarism. It's 3 hours and 51 minutes long.
Wow.
Do you want to guess how many views it has?
Oh my god. I have no idea.
Because normally, remember, long content is generally not good.
Right, but if it's a quality, it sounds like with him it's a quality over quantity thing. So I don't know, 5 million.
36 million.
Damn.
36 million views. Now, granted, it's had a year to accumulate that, but his video from 2 years ago, which has even longer of a time, is still at 16 million. It's crazy. So he has done a lot of fantastic stuff, but there are certain creators that can get away with not adhering to the algorithm. They just do what they want. And the content creators that are more kind of like, I don't want to say reactors, but like, oh, here's the current news of whatever my niche is, let me give you my take on it type of thing. That always goes with the whims of the algorithm. And I think that's where the negative connotation of content creator comes from, because they're not necessarily creating content that they want. They're creating content that the algorithm wants them to make.
Right. And
if that makes sense.
And I think it's, I don't want to say unfair.
I'm not even mad at them for that. I understand, like they're doing that because they have to make a living.
Yeah,
I'm a little they found themselves into making a living for this, and they gotta go with the whims of it. And as long as it doesn't compromise their morals, which, like, I'm not saying like you should die on the hill of that creativity, because you can still find ways to be you within the constraints of the algorithm. But yeah, I don't know. It's just thinking about it.
I think you can, but I don't think it should be first.
Neither do I.
I think that, I'm not saying this in defense of the algorithm because it's designed to keep people watching, but it's also based on watch patterns of people, of what people are already doing.
But if what people are doing is being fed to them by the algorithm, it's a self-defeating thing.
I feel like it's like a cycle. I feel like that was like the starting point, and then it's like, oh, this is how you watch things, so we're going to tweak your algorithm to make you watch more. So then that's going to incentivize the content creators to make more, like you said, just soulless, like less creative, more clickbaity stuff to just keep people coming in. Maybe that's why. Oh, you know what? Because we're also not thinking about, when I compared it to movies, I I didn't think about, like, marketing a movie is all up front. The marketing of content creation happens at the same time, because the kind of predatory, like, really dirty algorithms that keep people sucked in and keep people, like, literally addicted, like, to their phones, gets more ad revenue for the people hosting, which is different than movies, which maybe that's, like, I think a distinction for me is, like, you're literally just doing this for money. Like, what is the creativity? That's why people like, Jake Paul and the fucking Island Boys make me just want to, like, rip my face off, because it's like, you have so much money for being so, like, fucking annoying on purpose to get the clicks and the views, and it's like, there's not creativity there. It's just the algorithm, and I think the algorithm can be a good thing. When I first got on TikTok, I was in the graphic design anime fan, Jet Set Radio, like, Sega fan, parkour, American Ninja Warrior, all of the TikTok things that I'm in, like, all the things that I'm into side of TikTok, like, so fast. And I was amazed by it. And I was like, that's super cool. But, and I think this is probably where it starts to really feel dirty, it's designed to keep you in it. So for a creator, you have to keep up with it, which is, unless you are like one of these people who can put out a video a year and get absolute gangbusters numbers, but that takes a shit ton of work. And you have to build up an audience beforehand that's going to keep coming back.
Yeah, that's the thing. And it's the same thing when I've seen people not ask me, but, like, I always see, like, when they have, like, Q&A episodes on, like, popular podcasts, one of the questions almost always gets asked, like, how did you become successful at this, blah, blah, blah. And almost arguably all of them, I'm like, depending on the podcaster you're asking, I think it depends on the podcaster or content creator for that matter. But let's stick with podcasts, because podcasts are obviously my niche, and also they're pretty fucking huge, like, in general. Like, every celebrity has one now. And people will ask that, and it'll be to someone like Pat the NES Punk, or to like who was it that started a podcast somewhat recently? Like Amy Poehler started a podcast somewhat recently. I'm sure it's good. Like, this is no shade towards. I encourage everyone to start a podcast. It's a shitload of fun. But the thing is that, like, they had a built-in audience prior to starting it. So, like, why are you asking them how they got big on podcasting when, I'm like, well, the answer is right in front of you. They already had an audience. Like, that alone, if you have even just like a couple thousand subscribers on YouTube, right? Let's say you have like 50,000, which is a huge chunk. I'm not trying to say that's nothing to sneeze at. You could still probably end up getting 20 to 30 listeners from the get-go, like, from the ground floor.
Oh, yeah.
Just from starting a podcast based off of it. Like, my buddy Game Dave has a YouTube channel of like 78,000. He hasn't uploaded in like maybe not 78. I don't know what it is, but over 50K. Hasn't uploaded a video in like years, but he's been streaming on Twitch every Thursday night, and he streams to about like 50 people. How did he start off so easily? He had a built-in audience. He had a built-in audience of people who already were watching his stuff. And if you really want to know, like, how to get into content creation, talk to people who didn't have that built-in audience beforehand.
Yeah, don't talk to an Amy Poehler who's going to be like, "Oh, the secret's super simple. You just have to have a long and
genuine
successful career in Saturday Night Live and fucking Hollywood."
And once again, no shade at Amy Poehler. Fucking love her.
No.
She's hysterical. But, like, she has a built-in audience, and it's going to be easier for her to get that start. Like, she can become profitable immediately off of that. She can become successful at that immediately. if you really want to look at, like, someone who, like, a group of podcasters who built themselves from the ground up, I would say look at people like Watch Out for Fireballs. They are Kay Ross and Gary Butterfield. Actually, shout out to Kay. She just came out as trans on Blue Sky a couple weeks ago, or like a couple days ago. So shout out to her for being, like, kind of like finding herself. So props to that's awesome. But Kay Ross and Gary Butterfield, They started the show like years ago, years ago, and they were able to grow the show because they're very good at what they do. They were talented. They found a niche that people weren't doing at the time. Kind of similar to what I do, but like better, like with their critical analysis of games. And now they have a page. They have a large community that support, like that's their full time job, is doing Watch Out for Fireballs, because they grew that community. And they even said, like, honestly, we just kept grinding, we stayed consistent, but it's not going to be the same for everyone. So it's I think like it's to bring it back to the whole, like, is content creation like a dirty thing or whatever. It really it pretty much, excuse me, depends on how you're approaching it. Like if you're doing it just for the sake of clicks, you're Jake Paul's, you're whatever, then yeah, that's where the negative connotation comes from. But when you look at, like, even like what is it? There's a podcast called Remember the Game by a Canadian named Adam Blank. And he's a stand-up comedian, so he didn't have a huge audience, I don't believe, before the show, but they called him like the Bill Burr of retro gaming podcasts. That's kind of what they referred to him as. I've never really listened to his show too much, but I know it's very popular.
Chrono Trigger, what the fuck? Chrono Trigger is just it's fucking Dragon Ball, but you're going through time. Like, they already did that in Dragon Ball. Like, what the fuck do I need to play this game for?
That doesn't sound like Bill Burr at all.
I was like, I can't think of how he sounds, but I know it's just the Boston accent. And he's got kind of a high-pitched voice, so he's up here. He's like, what the fuck, dude?
I love Bill Burr, man. He is fucking funny. There's certain people, I'm going to go off on a tangent, but to keep it on topic, it's frustrating when you see content creators, and once again, no shade at like Woodhawker or the beat 'em ups. Like, his content's just not for me. Like if you let me go back to his channel quick, just so I can say like what his so his most recent video from 5 days ago, how I pre-ordered my Nintendo Switch 2 and every game. Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders are back with price changes, excuse me, was a video before that. So why is Mario Kart World an $80 game? Honestly, that's a decent idea for a video. 70 upcoming Nintendo Switch 2 games worth buying.
So all of them?
Right?
That's more than they've announced.
But he does a lot of clickbaity stuff. Like, so it's a little frustrating, but I get it. Like, his videos consistently get like hundreds of thousands of views. That's how he makes money. Like, it's not my cup of tea. It's a little frustrating, and like everything's got the cringy thumbnails of the, which you could use for this thumbnail.
I was just gonna say, I paused that for a little bit longer so that I could use that for the thumbnail.
Here, I'll pause for this one. Like,
oh yeah, I like that. That was good. That was good. Which is it's so funny in the context of this show is just us talking to each other. So the fact that we're both reacting like that at the same time, like, oh my god. Anyway. So what you're saying is, to wrap it all up, Indiana Jones is pretty good.
Yeah, because I'm circling I'm circling around the same point over and over again.
So it all comes down to Indiana Jones is pretty good.
Yeah, motherfucker, I can't drink the rest. Sorry, what? Indiana Jones is pretty good, and an ant got in my fucking coffee.
Nah.
We've been dealing with like sugar ants up here, and it's like just like, thankfully most of my coffee was done, but I'm not going to drink it now.
Baby, I'll be your sugar ant.
It's just so fucking annoying.
I don't know, I forget if I told you this. There was a goddamn cockroach in my drink the other day at a place I went to in Philly, which, you know, it's Philly, so that pretty much tells you. I felt so sick.
This could be your cell frame.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
I was just posing alongside you. Yeah, it was after, maybe I did mention this. It was after the Cherry Blossom Festival.
No, you didn't tell me this. I don't remember.
Okay.
If you did, I was not listening.
Yeah. Well, cool. If you did, I did not care. So we went to. I won't put them on blast, although maybe I should. But we went to a ramen place after the Cherry Blossom Festival, and do you know what a Calpico is? The drink.
Nope.
They're like those. I'm gonna assume that they are Japanese, but they're like. There's like a melon one. There's a strawberry one. It's like kind of a milky drink. They're good, but so I ordered one of those, and they come in the bottles, so they gave me a cup of ice. So I cracked it open and I poured half of the bottle in because to the ice, and then I drank it all the way down. Then topped the rest of the bottle off into the cup of ice and was drinking it a little bit before I realized that I saw something in the cup, and I thought it was a bee at first. That's how big it was.
You drank so much of it.
I drank half of it while there was a fucking cockroach in it. I felt so sick. I was like, "Oh my God." And I told them, and I was like, I probably could have made a big deal. I didn't. I've been a server. I don't want to be on either side of that. But I was like, "Hey, I just want to let you know," and I just pointed to it. And she was like, "Oh, wow, sorry about that." Like with that same level of concern. She's like, "Oh, yeah, sorry, I'll get you another drink." And I was like, can you get me another restaurant?
Can you get me a fucking refund?
Right.
Are you kidding me?
I know.
Are you
And I was like, "Oh my God." So they gave me another drink, which then like great. I'm still going to be thinking that I'm drinking bugs.
Yeah.
And and we paid full price for the rest of it. So I was like, cool. And
I would have made a bigger deal out of this. Like,
I probably should have.
Like, I just drank a drink with a dead cockroach in, or a live one. Who knows?
Yeah, right. No, it was definitely dead.
Doesn't fucking matter.
Which, yeah, it doesn't make me feel any better. And Polisa was like, I got the bill, and I told her, I was like, I don't want to make a big deal. It was like a long. I'm not that guy, even when it's deserved. And I got the pen out, and she was like, "Don't tip. Please do not tip. Like, if you are at least not going to make them give us everything for free, do not tip them." And I was like, "Okay, that's fair." So I didn't, which I hate how I still felt guilty about that.
Well, like the server didn't even like try, like her reaction says it all. "Oh, sorry about that."
Which either tells me you don't give a shit or this happens a lot, which don't like
go
that.
Back there again.
No, I won't
go back there again.
It wasn't even good enough to warrant going back anyway. Like, it was fine. I would rather find like a different ramen shop. Or what I should actually do instead is just probably move to Japan.
They won't have cockroaches there.
Yeah, I just meant for better ramen.
They'll have something else.
Yeah, right.
They'll have. I don't know why. I know this animal is not in Japan, but the first thing in my head was like, what's like an animal that's like native to their country? And first thing was like red panda, but I don't know if that's actually native to Japan. And the next thing, for some reason, and it's not anywhere near associated with Japan, it was a koala. I don't know why I fucking thought about a koala. Has nothing to do with Japan, and then I started laughing in my head at the idea of a koala being in your drink. Yeah. Just like a fucking full koala.
I would have loved
like, how
that.
did I get in there?
Except the fact that I probably would have gotten chlamydia.
Chlamydia.
Yeah. I was like, wait, actually, never mind. I think maybe a cockroach isn't so bad.
Maybe that now you can survive a nuclear bomb.
Yeah, right.
You drank coffee.
I know. I'm like, I should have checked. Am I glowing? Do I glow in the dark now? Yeah, those koalas. We're going to Japan, mate. We'll get those koalas and those kangaroos here in the land of the rising sun.
That's not a katana.
This is a katana. So yeah, that happened.
That wasn't even a good Australian accent. I can't do accents for the life of me.
I think it was passable.
Okay, I'll take it.
So yeah, I guess I can talk about some things that I have experienced. I have a pretty short list, so it's a good thing that we've already been going for an hour. I so we talk a lot about the religious trauma that both of us have experienced, and I forget.
Mine isn't so much trauma. I just don't like it anymore.
Yeah. I don't want this. Can I return this?
Yeah.
I started watching. Well, I had watched maybe a couple years ago the first few episodes of this show, and pause me if I have talked about this before, but I started properly watching / rewatching because I wanted to show Polisa, but The Righteous Gemstones.
No, we haven't talked about this,
Okay.
but I know about the show because some of my favorite improvisers, specifically Lily Sullivan, Tim Baltz, and Edie Patterson, are on that show.
Nice. I don't know who they are from their names, but
I'll tell you in just a moment because Tim Baltz has a fairly prominent role in the show. He is. Where are you at, you motherfucker? I'll find you.
motherfucker.
So Edie Patterson is Judy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she's
Judy
one of the
Gemstone.
main characters.
Tim Baltz is BJ.
Oh, that's her. Like that's her man's.
And then I think Lily Sullivan, I don't know. She must have like a guest role in it periodically.
Okay.
But Tim Baltz is one of my favorite improvisers. He's on Comedy Bang Bang a lot. And he has a show on their version of Patreon called he does a character called Randy Snuts. And how can I describe it? He goes, I can't even do a voice like Randy Snuts. He's like, I can't even describe the character. I'm bad at describing the character. He's like a Midwesterner, but like, I don't know how to describe why he's so funny, but he's funny. Like his character is really funny. And his wife, Lily Sullivan, plays his duplicitous and devious girlfriend in the character of it in that Randy Snuts show, Carissa. And I can't. I'm blabbering all over the place, but he's fantastic. Edie Patterson has been on Comedy Bang Bang a ton as a character named Bean Dip.
What?
I'll see if I can find like a clip of Edie Patterson as Bean Dip, and I'll play it once you're done talking about The Righteous Gemstones.
Okay. Well, yeah. So The Righteous Gemstones. Besides the fact that and this is one of the biggest things that for me really attached to me or resonated with me. So my grandfather, my pop-up, the one who was a pilot that was partially to, I was going to say blame, but to thank for my interest in potentially pursuing aviation in the future. He was also a minister, and he... some of the dirtiest jokes I've ever heard came out of this man's mouth like after church. He was larger than life in all of the best and worst ways. He was an amazing person a lot of the times and a terrible person a lot of the other times. And the main, like the patriarch of the family, played by John Goodman, Eli Gemstone, looks a lot like my pop-up. And so,
okay.
And he plays kind of the same role. I'm like, this is what my pop-up would have been if he had gone the mega church route. And it's wild. So of course they're the mega church family. They're the Joel Osteens and the freaking I don't know, with a little like Joel Osteen, but with like Billy Graham, like Southern giant.
Billy Graham at least actually did shit with his money. like he started like charity foundations and shit like that. Whether his son's a little bit crazy, but it's anyway. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, but so it's all about their dysfunctional life, and I would say so I found it, and Polisa has found it very healing because it calls out the hypocrisy in the church. It calls out the greed and the corruption and people like, oh, you know who I meant to say? Kenneth Copeland. It's very like Kenneth Copeland coded. What a sentence. How do you like that for alliteration? Kenneth Copeland coded with all K's. So yeah, just the greed and the hypocrisy, and much like, so I have found it very healing, but much like a show like It's Always Sunny, you have to be in the mood for the chaos, and or at least I have to be in the mood for the chaos and the watching a bunch of awful people have their lives spiral out of control due to their own actions. So and sometimes they get rewarded for it, which is a little bit frustrating, but most of the time it's like, oh, everyone's awful, I don't really have anyone to root for. In small ways you do, because there is still a lot of humanity under all of it, but everyone's like a total caricature. They're all awful. It is surprisingly heartwarming. I thought it was just going to be a really, so Danny McBride made the show, if you know who it is. So it's obviously ridiculous, over the top nonsense. But it also has a lot of heart, like more than I thought it would. And it's, I think, just started its fourth and final season. I think it's about to be done, and we are, I think, in season 3, maybe 2. But highly recommend. All the performances are incredible. John Goodman is like top form. Like, he's amazing in this show. And I really like.
Would you say it's kind of got a similar amount of heart to like something like Schitt's Creek, where like Schitt's Creek, the joke of it is that they're all bad people who steadily learn how to become good people?
I would say it has. So from somebody who's only seen maybe 5 or so episodes of that, I think that's a pretty fair comparison. Like, you're watching their lives spiral out of control. It's nonsense. They're all awful. But then you see little glimpses and you're like, oh, I see why you're like this. Or like, as I like to say, a reason is not an excuse, but it is helpful to see the humanity behind a lot of it. Like, even the worst of the worst on Gemstones is like, they have moments where you're like, oh, okay, I see there. And you just cover this all up with money or drugs or sex, or, you know. And so it's like, it's almost like the two sides of this coin are, it's incredibly compelling, and it's also like paste your pants funny and immaculately written. It's one of the best shows I've seen in a long time, and I recommend it even more to people who have grown up in religious circles, because there's so much there that is familiar in a way that's not going, I mean, maybe it's a little bit triggering if you have been, especially if you've gone to like a Southern church.
I believe you would call it ex-evangelicals.
Ex-evangelicals. Yes, I like that.
That is an online I didn't coin that. I saw it online. There's a lot of people, especially on like threads, that are like, there's like an ex-evangelical thread or whatever.
Yeah. I have heard that before.
And I see a lot of them on there. I've been going through that quite a bit, like where I don't know what I believe right now anymore, man. It's hard, because religion was such a huge part of my life, and the belief of that. And I'm at the point now where I still, at least I don't think I would ever go full atheist. I think I don't think I can. I think that something supernatural had to occur for us to exist. And I choose to believe it's an omniscient creator. But I don't fucking have proof of that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to try to convince someone. But I can see how this show would be healing in that aspect. Like, I'm curious now, because both me and I won't go into it because it's my wife's personal journey, but we're both going, and we both go to church. So we found a church that kind of affirms us, which is nice. But like, it's hard sometimes. And it's funny, because like the person that has I credit the most for making me drift away from the church and from my religion is the person most Christians voted for.
I know.
Right. I've fallen more away from it, because everything, and if I ever talk to my parents about it, I'm going to be straight up honest with them. Like, I don't believe as much. I don't know what I believe anymore. And I'll be honest, it's because everything that I was taught by our church to believe in and how to treat other people, I don't see in the man everyone voted for. Right. Every Christian voted for.
For me, like the the system of organized religion is so fraught with people like him and notions like that, and the misogyny, the open misogyny and racism and homophobia, and it's like, we talked about, I feel like we get on this topic all the time because it's both very important to both of us.
We're both ex-evangelicals.
Yeah,
like and it's something. We're still reconciling with the trauma,
right? It's like
or the grief, maybe for me, grief, maybe for you, trauma. My upbringing wasn't too traumatic. I didn't deal with a whole lot, but like
I think for me it was traumatic because I was raised like, what do they call that? Like Christmas Christian, where it's like, yeah, we go to
Creasters or whatever.
Yeah, Christmas and Easter, go to church and whatever. But it was never really like, not until my mom forced me to go to the Christian school for 4 years, when it was like really hammered into me, and we were told like, you're gonna burn in hell forever if you don't do these things. And then they would teach us like, here's how Jesus Christ was as a person, was incredibly loving, and hung out with all the people that most current Christians persecute. And seeing that disconnect was so jarring for me. And not to mention like the guilt, like of everything, but especially like with purity culture, like sexual guilt, like pleasure. What is that? Like, sex is only to be done in missionary for the sole purpose of procreation. Like, it's not supposed to.
Very Catholic way to look at it. Yeah,
totally. Yeah. And unlearning a lot of that was therapy.
Tough.
Anyway,
it's very tough.
So the things like that, I don't think the Righteous Gemstones really goes into, but it's more so just like the in-your-face kind of hypocrisy. And like there's a scene where Danny McBride's character, because he's in it too, he plays the oldest of the three of John Goodman's character's three kids, and they've all, of course, got gigantic like super mansions on this compound with a fucking like amusement park built into it, and he's upstairs and he's like, God, because he royally screws up. I would say this is one of those shows where you can watch just the first episode and you'll get a perfect view of what the whole show is. It's not one of those like, get to like the midway point of the third season and you'll really start to like
characters and this and that. Yeah,
first episode you get it all, and it only expands from there. But there's a scene in one of the early episodes where he's like, he royally screws up basically, and that's the plot of the first couple episodes. And he's praying and he's like, God, I'm sorry I did all that shit, and like I gotta fix this somehow, and 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 it feels like kind of like a you're almost there. You almost get it, and then the kid, you can hear his kids like outside the door being a little too loud, and he's like, "Hey, shut the fuck up! I'm trying to pray, God damn it!" It's so funny, and it's like it's just so.
I'll have to watch it. I don't have HBO anymore, so I might see if I can. I got rid of HBO not because of Harry Potter stuff, but because they removed all the. It was before the Harry Potter show was announced, so now I have an extra reason to get rid of it. But
John Lithgow is playing Dumbledore,
and he's not apologizing. Did you hear about the backlash he's had to deal with?
I saw that he was surprised at the backlash, and I was like, "Have you seen J.K. Rowling?"
So. Apparently, I don't begrudge an actor taking a role. I genuinely like. I understand where the backlash comes from. I don't fucking care if an actor got a role. Like, Harry Potter is such a complicated property because it was so influential to so many people, especially people in the LGBTQ community, for years.
Which is so surprising.
And then J.K. Rowling turned out to be who she is. Yeah. And it's funny. So the thing that actually makes me upset at John Lithgow, once again, not because he took the role, it's because apparently a personal friend of his who has a trans child. This is alleged. So I saw this on Blue Sky or Threads. I haven't. I have to find a news article for this. So look up, see if there's any news articles corroborating this. But allegedly, a personal friend of his, has a trans child and reached out to him to explain to him like that, like why the backlash is, and kind of plead with him a little bit.
Yeah.
And the interviewer said, "Did that change your mind at all?" He goes, "Oh no, not at all." And I went,
Oof.
Now, I'm going to double check on that now, because that is a very damning thing, and I've only seen that on Threads and Blue Sky, and with no news articles linking to it. So if that's true, that's fucked up. I also wouldn't be surprised, because it's something I want to believe. I want to be mad at somebody over being a shit stain like that, and that's a story that would make you be mad about that. So
yeah, that's disheartening. Not that I'm surprised that John Lithgow is like not phased, but yeah.
From the Daily Mail, let's see here. John Lithgow reveals what he did when friend who has trans child begged him to not star in the Harry Potter show. Actor John Lithgow says he ignored a request from a friend with a transgender child not to take the major role over J.K. Rowling to use. Lithgow, who will play Dumbledore, said a very good friend sent him a text to link the article with an open letter to John Lithgow. Please walk away from Harry Potter. Ellis claimed Lithgow's casting would lend credence to the adaptation and help grow J.K. Rowling's platform. Lithgow told the Times he received the link to the op-ed before he signed it. Before he signed his contract.
Oh.
He asked if it deterred him from signing on to play the wizard, and he goes, "Oh heavens, no." He did not identify the friend who sent it or elaborate on the relationship. Rowling has wow,
that feels shitty.
That's real shitty.
Ooh.
That's really shitty. So, I mean, I was already planning on not watching it, but
there's no chance. I would have said maybe if he had already signed on.
I'm glad I double checked it though. Like that's the thing. Like, there's so many times where like you'll see something and it affirms like a bias you already have.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to be much more careful with that now, because we can be manipulated too, and it will happen. But sorry, I cut you off.
Just it's just wild that I was gonna say, like, maybe it would have been one thing if he was like, yeah, I mean, I felt bad and I didn't know about this and I had already signed the contract that I can't legally back out of, and I'm gonna use like a certain portion of what I'm gonna make from it to donate to, trans funds and stuff. But to have him just be like, "Oh heavens, no!" like that feels unnecessarily blasé about it.
The only other thing to see if maybe there's something else going on with it is like maybe we would want to find the full transcript of the interview, because we only read that one tiny quote of the "Oh heavens, no!"
Yeah,
and maybe he was referring to it. Did you think twice about it? But maybe there's more to it than that, because there's, once again, context is everything. Not trying to defend the guy. If it's as fucked up as it sounds, it's pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
But on a happier note, I did find a clip of Edie Patterson as Bean Dip.
Okay.
Let me know if you can hear this. Hold on just a moment.
Okay.
I'm going to.
Ooh.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Oh, okay.
So let me.
It should come through.
That's funny. Okay.
I see Meaty Ang
The
Ang.
show that has been on a few times before, and she hasn't
It's
been
coming
on
through.
in a minute. I don't know where she's been, but
It's been a minute.
But she
That's E.D. Patterson.
As far as I can recall, she was the owner of the W Hotel.
That's why on the W Hotel.
She's an entrepreneur. She has several side hustles going on. Please welcome back to the show, Bean Dip.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Bean Dip.
Hey.
Do I call you Bean or Bean Dip?
You can call me Bean Dip or Bean.
Mrs. Dip or Miss Dip?
Call me Mrs. Dip or Miss Dip or Bean Dip.
Doesn't sound like you're particular.
Yeah, any of those names.
Hey,
Cool.
just don't call me ma'am.
Don't call you ma'am. Okay.
Please don't.
Why would does that have some connotations for you?
Look, I'm trying to make friends with people. I'm not trying to be formal. I'm trying to be friends on a peer level. I'm not trying to be like, oh, hey, sir, hey, ma'am, go eat the dick.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I get that.
By the way, this is Adam, Bean Dip.
Hey,
I
Bean.
know.
Hi, B.
We know each other.
Yeah.
You guys know each
I've
other.
stayed at a lot of W, so we've ran into each other in the lobbies, in the
okay.
hallways.
Now you just
at
own the
ice
Los
machines.
Angeles one, though.
I own a Los Angeles W.
Yeah, and I stay there. I don't like to. Sometimes I'm like, I don't want to stay.
But anyway, so that's Bean Dip.
That's funny.
I don't want to play. It's like 18 minutes, but like one of her character bits is that she let me stop streaming. One of her character bits is that she what is it? She like sells wet kisses at the lobby of the W Hotel that she owns, and she earns more money from selling kisses than she does from the W Hotel in Los Angeles. And it's insane. I it's more that she will have like that kind of like, hey man, how you like kind of that weird draw to it, and then when she gets excited, like the eat a dick Scott type of thing, just makes me laugh every time.
Oh, I don't know if that style of presentation is really for me.
Come on, it's great.
Maybe if I listen to a whole episode, I don't know.
It's a lot funnier. That clip also is not one of my favorite clips of hers. Like I'd have to find the right clip for you. Like it's the same thing. Like there's certain characters that I love in Comedy Bang Bang where if I played one clip for you, it's not going to be funny because it's not like a, not every episode's going to hit. That was just the first one I could find. I did find videos of Edie Patterson like I didn't realize what I learned from trying to find a clip is that Edie Patterson has a YouTube channel that's at least 12 years old, and she has a character. Then Bean Dip is her character that she's been doing. Her last video was 10 years ago too.
Whoa.
And wow, she hasn't done she did a bunch of Bean Dip videos back in like 12 years ago was the oldest one, and 10 years ago was the newest one. That is so wild.
It's probably like right before she started working on Gemstones, because I mean,
10 years ago would have been 2015.
It's
possible because the show's 5 years old.
Yeah, they take a long time to.
I don't. Yeah, but it wouldn't have taken if she stopped 10 years ago. It wouldn't have taken 5 years to. She probably would have started working on the show like 7 years ago.
Yeah.
But either way, like she's been steadily like building up her repertoire over the years. But anyway, sorry, I cut you off. So I'm curious about the Righteous Gems is because I like the improvisers in there, or a lot of the actors in that show are improvisers in stuff that I listen to.
Yeah.
And I enjoy them.
Yeah, I would say definitely give it a shot. If you know anyone that has Max, I would give you my password, although my password is not my password, so I can't give it to you. I am also borrowing. So yeah, definitely give it a shot. In addition to that, I know we were talking about the Val Kilmer movies that we've been watching. Last week we watched two.
Sorry, Lily Sullivan plays KJ. She's only in 2 episodes.
KJ. I think that is BJ's brother.
Well, Lily is she could play a boy.
Or no, sorry.
I
I meant to say sister. I think I meant to say BJ is her brother. I think BJ and KJ are siblings.
Which is funny because if that's the case, that they're married in real life, KJ and BJ.
That's funny. Oh my god, that's so funny because Judy's character, Edie's character Judy, is like convinced that she wants to sleep with her brother. Like she's convinced that KJ wants to sleep with BJ. She's like, ew, what the fuck? Which is funny now knowing that they're actually together in real life. Oh, weird.
That's really funny.
I can't even imagine. Well, nobody would believe it if Policia and I had to play siblings. But I can't even imagine like having to play a sibling. I think it would be weirder. Obviously, it would be weirder to play siblings with your lover than play lovers with your siblings. Obviously, that goes without saying. In other news, the sky is blue. So we mentioned we were watching Val Kilmer movies because he has passed on to the great sky beyond.
The Great White North. He went to Canada.
The Great White North remembers. He did go to Canada. This week we watched two. We watched a movie that I have not seen of his, and we watched one that I love, even though I know it's bad. We watched Tombstone. First time for both of us.
Tombstone's not bad.
Yeah,
Tombstone's not bad.
I really liked it. And we watched Batman Forever.
You didn't watch the Ghost in whatever the fuck that I was telling you with the lion with Michael, not Michael Caine. Fuck, Michael Douglas. That's his name.
Oh yeah, what was the name of that one?
It was like Ghost in the Darkness or something.
Oh,
like
okay,
that.
Ghost in the
Hold
Shell.
on. Yeah, right. I'll look it up real quick again.
But yeah,
I googled Val Kilmer Darkness. The Ghost and the Darkness is the name of the movie.
What year was that?
96.
Okay, I'll look into it because if we watch it, it'll literally be the next one chronologically because we watched.
Oh, what was the movie I told you I was going to watch and come back this week? Because I didn't do it.
F.
Shit. There was a movie I said I would watch and follow up with you next week, like this week. I completely forgot.
Oh my god, I wish I could remember. I don't know.
All right, well, you watched two Val Kilmer movies.
Yeah.
We'll just stick with this before we
Yeah,
get lost.
that's. I'll have to go back and listen to the other episode. Tombstone, I don't like Westerns. I'll just come out and say I do not like Westerns.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
that hasn't really been my thing. There have been Westerns that I have liked, but it just makes me, like, they kind of bore me. I don't really like the time period. I don't find it that interesting. You have to kind of do something really interesting and different for me to like. Like Rango, love Rango. It's so weird.
I watched Rango. It just was just another kid's movie to me.
Yeah, we talked about that.
It was fine. It was fine. It wasn't bad. It was fine.
Yeah, I really like that one. Yeah, Tombstone. I didn't know that Kurt Russell was in that. He does an exceptional job in that. And I was saying, like, I was talking to police afterwards, and I was like, Kurt Russell to me is that actor who you're never going to be like, oh my God, his performance in this was amazing, but you're always excited to see him.
It's kind of like the Keanu Reeves stuff, right? Like,
yeah.
Like his movies are good for him. Hold on. I'm going to keep talking about it though. I want to look up some of my favorite Westerns.
I think Keanu Reeves I think Kurt Russell is a much better actor than Keanu Reeves, but it's the same kind of feeling. Where I'm just like, every time I see him, I'm like, look at this guy. Like I love, my two favorite Kurt Russell movies are, strangely enough, not Escape from LA, even though I love Metal Gear Solid.
Or Escape from New York.
Or New York. Well, LA, I think, is the sequel.
Or LA is the second one, but yeah.
Yeah. I did like that one a lot though. But no, these are so different from each other. My two favorite Kurt Russell movies are The Thing and Big Trouble in Little China.
Sorry, I was looking at like what are some other like top westerns, and I just went to like IMDb's top westerns. There was one from like 2022. I was like, oh shit, that looks interesting. It's got like, but man, Tombstone's even a low rated one too. Wow. Tombstone, like on Metacritic, this movie is called Murder at Yellowstone City. And the lead actor is Isaiah Mustafa, who he's in. He was in Blackish, the TV series.
Okay.
He's done a lot of stuff, but it's about a former slave who goes to Yellowstone City in Montana. And I looked at the rating; it's only a 5.3 out of 10 on IMDb. But then, they gave Tombstone a 7.8. I'm so confused. It doesn't make any fucking sense. I'm curious about this though.
Yeah,
I like westerns though. I do. I haven't seen a lot of them. I've seen a decent chunk, I should say. I'm
trying to think of like, I haven't seen any of
Django Unchained is really good.
That's
if you
probably
haven't
my
seen
favorite.
Django Unchained, That is a legitimately fantastic movie.
Yeah.
I'd also recommend. I've never seen The Hateful Eight. I've been wanting to.
Tarantino.
Yeah, I was in Tarantino. I
Yeah,
do want
I
to
need to see that.
rewatch. I like I like John Wayne. John Wayne is a problematic man.
Yeah.
The more I learn about him, the more I don't like him as a person in the slightest. But I love his movies, man. It's a nostalgia thing for me.
Yeah.
And luckily that he did pass away in the 70s, so it's not like he can earn money off of this now.
I could not
But,
ever
like,
get into John Wayne. I find him insufferable. I don't have any
Really?
nostalgia though. Yeah, I just can't stand the
It's a lot.
get along, pilgrim.
I mean, well, you're looking at it from like the stereotype of it. If you want like genuinely like good, man, Parallax too, man. I guess
find
I'm the
Westerns
lone.
insufferable.
I'm the lone gunman.
I'm
on
the
this
Lone
one.
Ranger. They can
so
be
here's
good.
the thing.
They're really hard for me to like
If
them.
if you see like the Clint Eastwood ones, like Fistful of Dollars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That one is very much like if you don't like westerns, don't watch that movie. Like I watch those movies and they're fun, but they're spaghetti westerns, so it's a bunch of Italians playing Hispanic people, playing Mexican. I think it's technically because it usually takes place in Mexico.
Yeah. It's
But
a very
it's,
stereotypical Uberman being very manly in a negative way. Too much appropriation.
Yes.
Yeah, all of that. All of the above.
oh yeah, no, it is like absolutely Parallax. I think that you can do those movies really well, and I think it's okay, especially some of the older ones where it's almost like, how can I put it? Like, not trying to dismiss it, but almost like there's more ignorance to their awfulness, if that makes sense. Like I don't think they quite realized how fucked up they were. But who knows? Maybe I'm just being too generous with it. The ones I really like, though, I would say I really like Rio Bravo, that has John Wayne, Dean Martin, and Ricky Nelson.
Okay.
That one I don't think you would like, though. Do you agree with me, Parallax? I don't know I didn't know how off I was with that perception. Like it's like one of those things where it's like when racism was the norm, I'm not trying to excuse it by any stretch of the imagination, but it's almost like when they were racist in media, it almost was less. It was more ignorant because I was just like, well, this is just the norm. Versus now, when we have all like the knowledge is so much more out there and it's so much more prevalent as to like, hey, this is pretty fucked up and you shouldn't do this. So when someone does do something now, it's extra egregious because like, well, you should fucking know better,
Right.
Like. Now we've had enough. Like, there's been enough progress that like enough people should know better. Versus, I don't know. I maybe I'm being too generous with it. They were all probably really. Well, John Wayne specifically was extra fucking racist. That's a whole nother story, though.
Wasn't ignorance as much as it was negligence.
Yes, absolutely. I would think that's definitely more it.
I agree with that. I think that's even still being pretty gracious.
Yeah,
but I don't think it was intentional.
So what's weird is that, for example, in I forget which John Wayne movie it was, but there was one where I think it was True Grit, the movie that he finally won his Oscar for, where. No, what was it? I don't remember which movie it was, but there is a character who was kidnapped by indigenous people, because of all the conflicts that were obviously happening between the awful American government just genociding indigenous people. And John Wayne's character has a line in the movie that says like, well, can you blame them? The government's broken every treaty they had with them, type of thing.
Right.
Like calling it out. And then like this was in like the 60s and 70s, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, wow, that's actually like really, wow, that's wild. But then you hear the story of like, you ever hear the story of Sachin Littlefeather?
No.
Sachin? So in the 70s, Marlon Brando, I don't know if it was for The Godfather or a different movie, he won an Oscar, and he refused to accept it because he was mad at Hollywood for their treatment of indigenous people, especially their portrayal of indigenous people in movies, basically calling out Westerns specifically. So to accept his Oscar, he sent an indigenous person, Sachin Littlefeather. Let me see. Let me double. Sacheen Littlefeather. Now there is some controversy around her that has surfaced somewhat recently, and I'd be curious about that. I'm gonna have to try to find it a little bit later on, but there's an ancestry dispute. That's what it is. Following Littlefeather's death, Navajo author Jacqueline Keeler interviewed Littlefeather's biological sisters, Rosalind Cruz and Trudy Orlandi, who say their family has no Native American ancestry. Keeler writes that the sisters state that their father, who was born in Oxnard, California, was of Mexican descent and had no tribal ties, nor was he related to the Yaqui tribes of northern Mexico. I don't know if I pronounced the tribes correctly. Furthermore, Cruz believed that Littlefeather fabricated the Native identity because she thought it was more prestigious to be Native American than Hispanic. Wow. Okay.
Oh my God, there's so many layers there.
Yeah.
I feel unqualified to speak on this.
Regardless of that, regardless of Sachin Littlefeather, let's work currently off the assumption that she was indigenous.
Sure.
Right? That's clearly up for dispute right now.
I think his intentions were good. So he sent her to accept
this was in 73. Yeah. I believe it was for his let me see. Let me see. What year would it have been? Oh my gosh, I'm trying to see if it was in, like, was it the Academy Award for The Godfather, right? I don't know if it was the Academy Award for The Godfather, but he sent her to read a speech, and it was like a 739 word speech written by Brando, and she had to condense it into 60 seconds because they wouldn't let her. It's an award show, you can't read the full speech, regardless of everything else. And allegedly, to bring it back to John Wayne, when she went up to go to the speech, he had to be physically restrained by more than one security guard, and because he was so mad at her for speaking up on the issue. Allegedly.
What? John Wayne had to be
physically restrained.
Ew.
Yeah,
because she was speaking out about the mistreatment of her people, notwithstanding the fact that it sounds like it wasn't actually her people.
Assuming it was her people.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
he doesn't know that, so he just sees an indigenous person going up to try to speak about Hollywood's mistreatment of her people, and he's like, "No, get off the stage. I like that we mistreat you."
Yep. So here's the paragraph. In 1973, actor Marlon Brando refused an Oscar he had won due to the treatment of American Indians. This is a quote from it. I understand we don't use American Indians anymore. American Indians today by the film industry. Brando did not attend the award ceremony, but asked Native American civil rights activist Sachin Littlefeather to attend and deliver a refusal speech in the event that he won. Wayne was allegedly, this is technically allegedly waiting in the wings and was so angry about her presence there that Littlefeather said he was coming towards me forcibly to forcibly take me off the stage, and he had to be restrained by 6 security men to prevent him from doing so. However, an investigation in 2022 found that this is unlikely to have happened, and Littlefeather had no way of witnessing this take place. Okay, so now I'm not so sure anymore. This has so many fucking layers now. Now that, because here's the thing: if she fabricated the being an indigenous person activist, right? If she fabricated being indigenous, then I could see her fabricating this. Unfortunately, I'm not trying to, if you fabricated the being indigenous to make yourself feel more cool, I don't know, for whatever reason, then I could see that. And
totally, unfortunately.
However, an investigation in 2022 found that this is unlikely to have happened. Let me look at it's 131 from Los Angeles Times in 2022. Did John Wayne try to assault Sacheen Littlefeather in 1973? I'm not going to read the whole thing, but there is a news article about it.
Yeah, Parallax sums it up. This is an abomination, and I hate it. Fuck rich and powerful people. You're so right. Anyway, so to sum all of this up, Righteous Gemstone's pretty good.
And I interrupted you talking about Tombstone.
Right. Oh yeah, I guess I meant to.
And then the other Val Kilmer movie,
Right,
which you had not. No, you hadn't seen Tombstone. And you also watched Batman Returns?
Forever.
Yeah.
So Tombstone, just to give some thoughts, maybe Kurt Russell's best performance as far as I've seen. It's great.
He's fantastic.
He's great in it. I love the line like, "You tell him I'm coming and hell's coming with me." Like, there's so many good lines in that. And Val Kilmer, Burton Batman is fantastic. Well, so this is Burton produced, not directed though. It's Joel Schumacher, which for better or for worse. Val Kilmer's performance in Tombstone is why I wanted to watch that. I've heard his Doc Holliday is one of the most iconic of his performances, and they were not kidding. I mean, the guy is sick and dying the entire movie, and he still plays like the biggest badass of the film. Like, and he's drunk the whole movie. Like, I love the line where somebody's like, "What the hell you gonna do? You're drunk," and he's like, "You probably can't even see straight." And he's like, "Well, I got 2 guns, so there's one for each of yous."
It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Gene Wilder character from Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, a little bit less silly.
Much less silly. But I just love those like, take a look at this, steady as a rock. Yeah, but I shoot with this hand.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite lines. And then of course the iconic "I'm your Huckleberry." Which is the name of his memoir, which I wanted to read. I'm really sad about Val Kilmer dying. I really liked him.
It's really funny. So I released just when we talked about Top Secret last week, right?
Yeah.
And I was editing my most recent episode of the podcast that'll actually be coming out tomorrow on Patreon, or in like 2 hours actually on Patreon, and be out on Sunday for everyone else. And I referenced Top Secret in the episode because of Val Kilmer's death. We recorded it shortly after, like a day or so after it was announced that he died, and it was just so funny that like it was on my mind even then. So when you brought it up, I was like, finally, more people like this movie.
It's so good. If anyone's watching this who wasn't watching last week, watch the movie Top Secret with Val Kilmer. It's one of the funniest movie I've ever seen in my life, and it still holds up.
I would be curious if you would try out the movie True Grit, not John Wayne's True Grit. It's too old, but the Jeff Bridges, directed by the Coen brothers.
Yeah.
So Matt Damon's in it, Josh Brolin's in it. I'd be curious to see what you think of that.
I have seen it and I did like it.
Okay.
I'm not necessarily lining up to watch it again, but I remember after watching it being like, that was a good movie. I like Jeff Bridges a lot. I want to see more things with him in it, especially in serious roles, because obviously the dude and his role in maybe the most underrated 3D CGI animal movie of all time, Surf's Up. His character in that is excellent as well. But yeah, so Tombstone probably up there in my, I know this is a very short and not very potent list, but it's probably up there on my favorite list of westerns that I've seen. Liked it a lot.
One I want to see just because Kurt Russell's in it again, and it's a western, Bone Tomahawk.
Never heard of it.
I've heard it's very violent. So FYI, like apparently there's like a scalping scene or something like that. Like, and it's like very brutal, but everyone tells me it's really good. But it's like kind of like, what if you did Pitch Black but as a western?
Okay, you're speaking my language now.
It I don't know if it's going to be. This might be. I've seen people who are pretty progressive watch this and say it's a good movie, so I don't know how it's portrayed. But basically, in the Old West, a small town sheriff and his ragtag posse set out to rescue several townspeople from a brutal cave-dwelling, cannibalistic Indian tribe.
Oh,
That's the read. So that part, I'm not sure. Like how, like, is it so far fetched? You know what I mean? Because it's like if it was just cannibalistic, but like the whole cave dwelling thing almost makes it like I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen it. It's rated very highly. I've heard it's good. I'd be very curious to see if it's like, is it actually problematic or not? I don't know.
I'm gonna assume that it is. I feel uncomfy just thinking about it. Interesting premise though. But
I'm just gonna search Bone Tomahawk on Blue Sky and see what people are saying about it.
Yeah, I think my favorite Western movie of all time is Red Dead Redemption. The first one.
Did you play the second one?
Yeah, I beat it not too long ago, and I liked it a lot. I would probably sooner play it again than the first one, but I think I liked the first one more.
Really? See, I thought the first one was a lot worse.
Yeah, although we were talking about this after I beat it, I played that when it came out, and I think you played it much more recent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely
I played it
of its time.
Shortly before I played the second one.
Yeah. It definitely, I mean, it's like going back to GTA 4, you know, after 5. Like, it's going to be a little more janky. I actually really like the physics engine of RDR1 and GTA 4 more than the newer ones. But the pacing of the story, I think I liked a lot more in the first one. I found myself just being like, oh my God, I don't care about so much of the second one, because it just felt like they were just flexing and just rubbing it all in your face. Like, look at all this shit that we did. And it's like, yeah, this is cool and impressive, but you don't have to remind me every 5 seconds that you modeled
I never felt it.
The horse's
balls
balls
like
to
that.
shrink when it's cold outside. Like,
I mean, I wasn't looking at the horse's balls. I'm just saying.
You know, to each their own. You know, like, I don't know. It's just, it feels, it felt a bit too bloated. I don't know. Yeah.
See, I thought the first one felt more bloated to me. The first one, it like the missions were much more boring to me. The second one, I always felt like the missions were a lot better. The world was more interesting to explore. Like, they did a better job with like what I love about Red Dead 2 is that I swear people are still going to be finding little story side bits, kind of like what people do in like Elden Ring and Dark Souls, right?
Yeah.
Where like it'll be like a year late, it'll be like 6 or like a decade after on, and like I just found out this little bit of lore that like no one else has discovered yet, and like Red Dead 2 has that.
People are still doing that in like GTA 5, and that's way older. Like, I wholeheartedly agree with you there. I love just exploring the world in that one. But just the story pacing, the performances are incredible, stellar. But I just think the pacing of the story, and I think the missions, I loved the variety of the locales, and because they're all gorgeous. But they all, and I had this problem with GTA 5 as well. They all go exactly the same way. Hey, we got to go meet up with XYZ person. Okay, and you go to meet up with XYZ person, and then all of a sudden you're in a shootout. You got to shoot your way out and get back to the base. I feel like that was every single mission, even if it was supposed to be like a fishing mission. They were like, wait, it's an action game, so you got to go kill everybody and blow everything up, and you know, and it's like, okay, do I have to shoot my way out of this again? I don't know. I'm probably being picky. Hey, you get out of here.
Sorry, I was just looking to see like what I mean, it's just people being positive about it. Even like like more progressive accounts. So for Bone Tomahawk, I'm not, you know what? I apparently it's not a scalping scene. Apparently someone gets bisected
Oh my god.
right down the middle, I guess.
Well,
So I'm very curious about that.
ain't that just the way? Well, so yes, Tombstone and then Batman Forever. The very weird, very campy, so very campy, very gay. And I'm saying that because the director was actually gay. And put a lot of like it's so Batman Forever is like very homoerotic. Like, and I thought it was just like weird 90s kookiness, but it's just he did
Is
that.
Joel Schumacher gay?
I
Was gay?
I thought so. Oh, is he dead?
Yeah, he died in 2020.
Well,
Yeah. Schumacher was openly gay, described himself as extremely promiscuous,
oh my.
saying in a 2019 interview that he became sexually active at age 11, estimating that he had sex between 10,000 and 20,000 men over the course of his life.
Whoa. That's. I hope it was consensual when he was 11 years old. Jesus.
I don't know. I mean, he died when he was 80, so that means that he would have been like, he was born in like what, 1940 then?
I guess. That's
Or
wild.
39, August 29th, 39. So he died before his 81st birthday.
Damn.
That's
10
wild.
to 20,000. I can't even fathom. He must have done nothing but. He was probably doing it on the set of Batman Forever.
That's so many holes.
He's probably well, depending on if he was taken or given, maybe he was doing both. He was probably like in between takes. He was probably taken or given. It's like that's so many. Anyway,
I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see if I can find that number.
it's very goofy. It's very funny. It's very campy. I love Jim Carrey as the Riddler in this movie. It's so stupid. Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face is so good, but so stupid. And I actually think Val Kilmer gets unfair crap for his performance. I think for what the movie was, he did exactly what he needed to. And he had the charm. I think he had the charm of Bruce Wayne down. Of like a 90s Bruce Wayne down. But he is just so not. He's so not intimidating as Batman. It's very funny.
Have you ever seen Kilmer in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang?
That's on the list. So we're going in chronological
It's a
order.
good movie.
I've not
good
seen
movie.
that. So the only ones that we watched that I have not seen, I shouldn't say only, it was about half and half. I didn't see Top Secret, I didn't see Real Genius, and I didn't see Tombstone. Of the ones we watched so far, and I have not watched Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, but I think that's next. Unless we watch The Lion, the Bitch, and the Wardrobe, or whatever you were calling it. The Lion,
What
all
was
the
I?
all the lions. You said there was
The Ghost in the Darkness.
the Ghost in the Dark. I don't know, where did Lion come from?
Because there's a lion in it.
Oh,
But,
okay,
like
okay.
I was like, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I mean, we were talking about evangelical stuff. Sorry, real quick with Joel Schumacher from a Vulture interview from 2020. So this is
A bird
guess
interviewed
that's
him?
yeah. Your friend Liz Smith referred to you as a quote unquote sexual outlaw. Have you ever guessed the number of partners you've had?
Outlaw.
And he replies, it would be in the double digit thousands, but that is not unusual.
Double digit thousands. That is
And
wild.
then she goes, double digit thousands. Do you mean like 2,000 or 3,000? That's not double digits. That's single digits. Oh, so 20 or 30, somewhere in there, or 10 or 20. That's really amazing.
Oh my God.
It's not for a gay male because it's available.
five figure 5 figures of.
Did you date famous men? I've had sex with famous people, and I've had sex with married people, and they go to the grave. I've never kissed and told about anyone who gives me the favor of sharing a bed with me. Well, that's
Whoa,
classy, right?
That is classy. Yeah.
Look at that response. Who does me the favor of sharing a bed?
I
with
like
me.
that.
What a classy gentleman.
And then he put nipples on the outside of the Batman suit.
he knew where his money. He knew where his bread was buttered.
Yeah, that's a nice way to put that. But yeah, so I liked this because it was very much a live action interpretation of the animated series. Like the city of Gotham in these movies, the 90s ones, have that Art Deco larger than life look with giant skyscrapers, very geometric and big ass statues, and it feels very futuristic, which I thought was really cool. And they did a great job with the sets. But yeah, it's everything about it is goofy and campy, and I think should be higher up on people's lists of best Batman movies. And then, well, you know what? I have something that we experienced, but it's not time sensitive. So if you want to wrap up soon, we can.
Yeah, we should probably wrap. It's almost 10:30, and I
Yeah.
realized I'm recording a podcast Thursday night where I'm interviewing a voice actor, and I need to actually do research on them to
Nice.
come up with questions for it.
Are you allowed to say who it is?
Sure, I don't give a shit. It's Sean Chiplock.
Okay.
Sean Chiplock. He also, I think he goes to like furry conventions. Maybe he's a furry too.
Really?
I don't know, but
Sean Chipmunk.
he.
His persona better be a chipmunk.
Well, fun fact, and it's not actually. He's in a lot of video games. A lot of them that I believe you would like. He's in. Hold on. He was in Mortal Kombat Onslaught. Let me see if he's in other Mortal Kombats, because Onslaught was the mobile game, right?
Onslaught was the. I thought that was. Did that even come out?
I
'Cause there's-
mean, it came out in 2023.
Okay.
It's an action adventure beat 'em up role playing video game developed by NetherRealms, released in October 2023 and shut down in October 2024.
Yeah, it didn't last long.
It was a free to play mobile multiplayer online battle. So he voiced Noob Saibot
Interesting. Okay.
in that. Let me see if what other games that you would recognize. He was in, and I don't know if he's not in the one from. He was in. Where are you at? Why can't I find you? He was in Breath of the Wild. He was Rivali in Breath of the Wild.
Yo, Rivali's Gale is ready.
And he is also in the Octopath Traveler games. Oh, he was Noob Saibot and Charon in Mortal Kombat 11. Charon,
Okay.
Kharon.
Yeah. He had the Dr. Claw voice in that one. He was like, "Mother would be so proud of us."
He
Next
also
time,
is in
Gadget.
Catherine. That game, Catherine,
Yeah.
full body. He's Archangel, or maybe I don't know if that's I don't know if that's kind of like a side character, like there's archangels and he just happens, or if
Yeah.
that's an actual name.
I haven't played that.
He's in Genshin Impact. He's in He's in 7 Remake as Nero the Sable for the intermission DLC.
I
Guilty
didn't
Gear
play that.
Strive. He's in Guilty Gear Strive.
Who's he in that?
Kai Kiske.
Oh my God, he's Kai. Wow. He's like that's like the Ryu of the game, basically. Like the Ryu and
Lost
Ken
Judgment.
are Kai and Soul. Wow.
Yeah. So he's done a lot of. He's been in a lot of games. He was in Maple Story.
Oh my God. That takes me back.
That's a flashback.
I never played that, but I always wanted to. I always liked the art style.
Oh, he was in Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc,
Oh.
which I've been meaning to play. But then he's also done a ton of anime, like a lot. In anime, he has been in. He was in the Boruto, the Naruto Next Generation
Yeah.
series. as Metal Lee.
Oh my God, Rock Lee's son.
I guess so. Yeah. Blue Box is the one that he is from this year. It's a Netflix show. Let me see if there's anything else. I mean, I haven't watched anime in so fucking long. So like, I'm in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Golden Wind. He was Guido Mista.
Okay.
In One Punch Man, he was Eyelashes.
Eyelashes.
I'm not quite sure. He was in Sword Art Online as well.
Eh.
Couple others. So yeah, he's got a lot. I mean, this is all on Wikipedia. I'd be curious to see like what everything is on. Like he has 282 credits on fucking IMDb. So
Nice.
he's been around for a while. But it's funny. I actually I interacted with him before he became a voice actor.
Oh.
Do you remember Zanga?
The website?
Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah, like the pre MySpace?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I was really into doing like I was doing layouts and stuff like that.
Right.
And I got really into it. I was writing a whole bunch, and I remember getting a decent. I didn't get a following, but I remember my old user handle was Scary Guy 102. I don't know why I did that. It was something where it was like in my head as like a sixth grader. I'm like, this will be funny, and now as an adult, I'm like, why did I think that was funny? I don't fucking know. So Sean had a very popular blog on there called Sonic Mega. And that's what his online handle is. That's what his Twitter and Blue Sky handle is.
Okay.
It's Sonic Mega. So, but I remember him. I remember the name Sean Chiplock from that, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's kind of crazy." So, and years later, after I became friends with these podcasters, Lucas Egan and Ryan Smith, they had a show called Land Parties, which they were actually like journalists. It was for the Las Vegas Review Journal, that podcast was, and they interviewed him on it. So, and I was friends with them from just networking and whatnot. They're good people. Lucas is a really sweet guy, and I was following them. And when I saw that they got Sean on, I went, "Why does that name sound familiar?" And then I saw his handle. I'm like, Sonic Mega. There's no fucking way.
That's so funny.
And so I mentioned to it in like a Twitter before Elon took it over, but a Twitter back and forth. So I don't know if he remembers that back and forth, but the reason I even knew him is because he offered to essentially like, if he was looking for 2 songs, and if you could find the 2 songs and send them to him, then he would feature your blog on his like front page as a way to like advertise for you.
Wow.
And I found the one. It was a song by an artist named Gigi D'Agostino, who's it's an electronic musician, called The Riddle. And that's how, and I found that, and he featured my page on it.
What? Does he?
Yeah.
Did you like mention this when you reached out to him?
Not when I reached out to him to get on the show, but I'm going to kind of spring it a little bit on him.
Yeah.
In the episode, and I'll preface it, be like, I don't expect you to remember this, but like this was something I remembered for some reason.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I quit Zanga because I saw someone else's like coding for how you actually like code the HTML to like do people's Zanga pages, and I did my own art. I did my own rudimentary on my bootleg version of Photoshop art, but I kept all their code, and they called me out on it. And I forget, there was like a term for it, it's not like hacker or scammer or whatever, it was something else. And I was like, I'm just going to stop doing it then, because I felt bad. I didn't think stealing code would be a problem. And I actually, in retrospect, I still don't. Fuck that person for making me feel bad. I did all my own art. All I did was I took their code and I learned how to do it myself. I kept the value names the same, but I shouldn't have fucking felt bad about that. It's fucking code. Like,
I guess
I wasn't making money off of it.
Yeah, that's true. That's wild. He was also in Iron-Blooded Orphans, which is my favorite Gundam series, and I recommend that to anyone who, whether you're into mecha or not. It's so good. That's so funny.
Oh.
What a weird story that you, like. Great story, Mark. What a weird like background to you guys' interactions.
I'm very excited to chat with him. I've listened to a little bit of his episode with Lucas, and he's a very eccentric type of person. I don't mean that as like an insult, but like he very much feels like he is the over the top excited dude that you see at an anime convention that got to end up working in anime.
Nice. That was the dream. That was our like 16-year-old dream.
That's the vibe I get from him. I'm gonna have to like listen. I'm gonna have to see how the interview goes. I might go back to that LAN parties episode and like listen to it a little bit. But I'm excited, man. I'm excited to have him on. It's been a minute since I've interviewed a voice actor, so it'll be kind of cool to have someone back on.
Yeah, definitely go back into older interviews. I haven't interviewed anyone in a while, but I always like to go back to listen to the older interviews to get ideas for questions to not ask, because it's like if the same ones keep coming up all the time, then it's like, all right, well, they're probably going to be tired of answering this. But yeah, that's really cool. I want to get more guests on, like industry guests.
Here's a hot tip for interviewing. There's a reason why you get asked the same questions so many times. It's because when you are interviewing someone, you're trying to essentially market that person to your audience, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of the objective. No one's going to know who Sean Chiplock. I don't mean any offense towards Sean Chiplock. It's the same for like, even like I've had other voice actors on who no one knew anything about, right? Like, but you ask those questions, not you give them those layup questions, even though it's boring for them, so your audience has more of a has more of a context and a framework for when you go into the deeper questions. What is what the meaning of it all is?
Yeah. I guess
I think that's surprise. I realized it when I was I was listening to some of my old interviews, and all I would do is ask like really like not pointed in a bad way, but like very specific questions, trying to, but just in a desperate attempt to like be like, hey, you ask good questions. That's the validation I wanted, and I've gotten that from some people. It's a very nice compliment. But I also realize like you have to mix those things in, because if you go with just the obscure ones, there's almost no framework for the interview. It actually felt like almost disorganized when I was listening back. It was interesting.
Yeah, you definitely gotta start. Definitely don't start there. But yeah, I guess it's just in how you can make the softball questions more interesting.
Yep.
Well, cool.
Anyway.
Well, you enjoy that, and I am going to cry myself to sleep because I have to go get up and deal with people dying of cancer tomorrow.
Watch Dropout before you go to bed. Watch Make Some Noise.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Make Some Noise tonight. It's fun. It's easy to throw it on the background. You can download the app on your TV, and it works great.
This episode brought to you by Dropout. I wish.
Not a sponsor, but God, I wish I could
But they could
podcast
be.
with some of them.
I know, that'd be awesome. Alrighty. Well,
Anyway.
Next week you are recording, correct?
I am guesting on a different stream.
Yeah.
I'm cheating on you, Andrew.
Oh my god. Who am I gonna caboose for now? And that's what we call
Imagine Police out of context, just hearing you say, "Who am I going to caboose for now?"
Who am I supposed to build ramps for? Who am I supposed to build ramps for now? That's yet another callback to Danny McBride in Hot Rod. Anyway,
There we go.
yes, thank you for being on. So next week will probably be Police and I. I've been trying to keep it pretty low key. We're probably going to talk about. Although I said that the one time I was like, it's just going to be us. It's going to be pretty low key. And then we streamed for 4 hours ranking every single Super Sentai opening. So, which was amazing, and I'm actually very proud of that episode. But yeah, well, I'll see you the week after then, and everyone else, I will see you tomorrow for Wildcard Wednesday. And it's such a Wild Card Wednesday that I don't even know what I'm going to play yet. I'm between 2 games, so You shall see. All right.
right.
Everyone, have a good one. Stay frosty. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Go to therapy. And watch The Righteous Gemstones. Yeah.
There you go.
Alrighty.
See ya.
Night all.